Good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you're at. I am Bill Murphy, civil engineer for, bear with me here, Quick Supply Company, ASP Enterprises, Bowman Construction Supply, and Cascade Geosynthetics. And so that our guest speaker doesn't have to say all those four company names, I'm going to let him use the name that his home office is closest to, and that'll be Cascade. And Cascade is our newest venture out Pacific Northwest office out of Portland, Oregon, led by the awesome Melissa Hurley, who we've known in our industry for quite some time. And I want to thank Melissa. She's not able to join us today, but she introduced me to our guest speaker here today, Stephen Lovering. And before I get into introducing Stephen, I'll do a quick intro for our company. Hopefully you all can hear me fine. This is a webinar, so you don't get audio and I don't get to hear your feedback. The way that you're going to participate today, if you have questions, is to use the Q&A option. We do not use chat because that pops up on the screen and interrupts the speakers. That can be a distraction to our guest speakers. I do want you to know that I will be available after this webinar if you want immediate phone calls or emails, but also we're going to follow up with you within a day or two with a Survey Monkey that's going to have the questions that everyone asked, and we're going to include the written answers for those actually after the Survey Monkey. Survey Monkey is an opportunity for you to ask questions that you didn't ask today and for you to verify your contact information so we can send your PDH certificate to you. For those of you that have joined us for most of our webinar series, this is familiar, these first 5 slides. So I'm just introducing you to our companies. Again, I'll go to the map. This is our locations, and my friend Maddie Gibbler, I think she's on this webinar today, suggested we color code this map for the 4 different companies, and I have done that. I obviously just didn't update this presentation. So as you can see on the map, we have a good presence across the Midwest US out to the Pacific Northwest, up to Alaska, and that's thanks to our friends at Cascade. So I am the civil engineer for all of these 4 companies, and I get to lead this Tech Talks webinar series. I'm grateful to do it. We have wonderful guest speakers. In addition to the stormwater solutions that we generally present, we still carry all the good standbys that we've done for decades, and that's our rolled products, our geosynthetics, our erosion and sediment control products, our stormwater BMPs for construction sites, and several of our locations have hardscape divisions that have beautiful outdoor living spaces, whether it be patios, retaining walls, pizza ovens, fireplaces, gazebos, the like. We are a powerhouse with our warehouse and our trucking abilities. We're still a mom and pop shop, still family owned. In fact, I just talked to our owner yesterday morning at length about adding some of these new technologies, such as StrataVault that we're going to get into today. And we're trying to stay at the tip of the spear, as I call it, on stormwater innovation and just construction site innovation in general. So we will have our contact information. This slide will appear again at the end, but just like we all know, you can Google any company you want and get our information within seconds. Please continue to deal with your local ASP, Quick Supply, Bowman, and Cascade reps. My passion for this presenter today is because I live out in the country. I plant a lot of trees. When I was a little kid, I heard about Johnny Appleseed, thought that was cool. I thought I would do that. I don't have my mom's tough feet, so I couldn't go barefoot walking across the countryside. And I quickly realized I wasn't going to cover a whole lot of ground just walking around with a bag of seed. I don't have to use this product because I live out in the country. That's a picture of my middle kid and my favorite dog out on our property planting a tree. And my neighbor has a seed distribution company, and he loans me his forklift or skid loader when I need it, so I can carry trees around my property. But if you are planting trees in urban settings, you don't have the gift of having acres to water and provide nutrients to each tree, then you're going to need this next solution that we're going to introduce today. These pictures on the right of this slide are my own pictures that I took on a vacation. I never take a full vacation. I'm always thinking, always working. And this was in June. Actually, it was June of last year. It was pre-pandemic. So June of 2019, I was in a Midwestern city, and you can't tell with the way I took this picture, but the tree right in front of me is actually bare and there are no leaves. I made a mistake and should have taken it from an angle because it looks quite healthy. That's actually 2 trees behind it in the background. What often happens in these urban settings is that 4x4 grate is the only hope at life that tree ever has, and that's just not enough water and soil and living space for that tree to thrive. The roots get compacted by the sidewalks and streets, and when they go to replace it, it's a major deal. There's already a lot of utilities in the ground, and it's a real significant effort, a lot of risk, a lot of cost, a lot of nuisance and inconvenience to try to replace those trees, and those trees are only lasting 3 to 5 years in most cases. That's bothered me for a long time. So it's only been natural that we would have a solution to help with that. And I'm going to introduce our guest speaker now that I'm 5 minutes into it. I have his bio. And if any of you have ever bought a used textbook in college, you try to buy one that you hope came from someone smart, so you could just read the highlighted parts. So I print all of our guest speakers' bios, and I only highlight the part I'm going to say. But I like this guy's bio so much, I'm going to read the whole thing. So Steve, are you on there? You can unmute yourself and be ready. So that
I'm here for you.
There you go. You can give some feedback of appreciation when I read this bio. So that voice you just heard, you're going to hear a lot more of it, is a landscape architect and by the name of Steve Lovering. And his official name is Steven when you get his business card. Steven Lovering is the North American technical rep for Citygreen, the world's leading supplier of sustainable urban landscape solutions, including structural soil cells, tree root management systems, water harvesting and aeration products. As a lifelong horticulture and design enthusiast, Steve has always had an interest in watching landscapes unfold. It was a somewhat natural path that would lead him to changing the world one streetscape at a time by helping trees to thrive in urban areas where currently they are failing, as I showed in the previous slide. We've all seen it. It was during his time as a landscape architect at LA West and Calgary, Alberta, that's Canada, folks, that Steve realized trees and cities weren't performing as well as they should. When it came to tree root management, water supply, and aeration, existing products were falling short. A better solution was needed, so Steve decided to join his colleagues at Citygreen North America. Citygreen was founded in 2011 with a vision to revolutionize the green building space with highly engineered urban landscape systems. As well as enabling trees to reach their full potential, Steve wanted to help develop systems that would integrate seamlessly with infrastructure and services and be 100% sustainable. From humble beginnings, Citygreen has grown to become the global leader in urban landscape solutions with offices in Sydney and LA. Citygreen's innovative systems have been used on hundreds of successful projects across Australia, New Zealand, Canada, USA, Europe, the UK, UAE, and Asia. Citygreen structural vault systems are made from 100% recycled materials, and they have been since day one. He'll cover that as well. Steve remains at the helm of design and product innovation in North America and looks forward to helping towns and cities across the US and Canada grow their urban canopy and realize their urban dream for many years to come. And that's his bio, which is impressive. And I did highlight the whole thing. But I also want to add that we've already had opportunities since we met Steve recently to have a couple of projects that he's helping us with right away. So with that, Steve, I'll hand the wheels over to you. I have to go up here and send remote controls to you. And if you click on the screen, you should start driving the presentation. I think you have it.
Okay, fantastic. Bill, thank you very much. That was a fantastic introduction, my friend. I love it. I didn't realize my bio was quite as long as that, but that is awesome.
Here, you're gonna have to click on the screen again. I think you opened up some of my other things. Click right in the middle and you'll be driving there, buddy.
Okay.
Should just hit the space bar or your down arrow and it should just advance slides. Try one and then I'll mute myself.
Okay, no, I'm not actually doing anything there.
That's right. I took over controls. So if you click right in the middle of your screen, it should go ahead and give you the controls back.
Yeah, I've got it there, my friend. We're good. Can you see that now?
Nope. I think you're clicking on a different part. So right now I'm showing, that's me advancing it. It still says waiting for you to control my screen. So if you're using two monitors, you want to make sure you're over on the one that's showing our presentation. That's me again. So I'll tell you what I'll do. You may have done that. So there you go. This is you. Now you're going back and forth. You got it. Whatever you're doing now is working. That's you.
Okay, fantastic.
You'll have a little bit of a lag. I think that's what's going to give you the hesitation. And that's just the conversion from Canadian to US. Take it away, buddy.
That's a relief. Okay, thank you, Bill, and welcome, guys. This is a really, really exciting opportunity to work with a fantastic company like Cascade and Partners, and such a fantastic, innovative product that I'm about to talk to you about. I don't know your experience with soil cell systems in the past, but these things are really taking the urban realm by storm. And like I said, it's very exciting to be talking today about this. So we'll get started. So Citygreen Urban Landscape Solutions, as mentioned, we've been around for a while now. We are currently market leaders worldwide in the technology and growing by the day. Now, since day one, we have been manufactured with 100% recycled materials, and we are committed to being the world's most environmentally friendly soil cell solution. So that's something we believe in very passionately, and honestly, the people specifying these products believe that also, depending where you are in the US. Obviously, not everybody's quite as on board with the whole recycled thing as others, but it's very, very good. Now, as far as manufacturing, yeah, Canada, US, Australia, Europe, and Asia is where we're currently manufacturing products. We actually manufacture in Ohio, in the States. 400 plus projects in North America over the last 3 years, and 200 plus projects in USA. So it is a growing market for us, and it's becoming, well, it's obviously with the size and scale and forward thinking, it's going to be the leader, I would imagine, within the next 5 years. Now, we have some urban environmental challenges that we're trying to overcome with these soil cells. The first one, and probably the most important, we're going to touch on today, is trees and community spaces. So as Bill had mentioned, up until fairly recently, the last sort of 7 or 8 years, we've been planting trees into urban environments and giving them a 4 foot by 4 foot square hole for the tree to grow in. Now, as you can imagine, these trees are using up that nutrients and soil very quickly. Typically 2 to 3 years, they've used up all of the soil, and now the roots are trying to get into the asphalt or concrete to either side, which is causing massive problems in terms of damages to the surface, which again, you know, that creates trip hazards, etc.
And I apologize. I think I just took over controls just for a second because I want to make sure that I resume the the recording. There you go. So I think if you click on the screen, you'll have it back again. I'm sorry about that.
No worries. Just test that out.
There you go. You got it.
Okay. Okay, we're good. All right, fantastic. So, yeah, we're not giving the tree's root system enough soil volume to really take up the nutrients it needs to grow and to become a full healthy tree. Trees that are a fifth of the size they should be are not providing any of the aesthetics, the health benefits, or the shade that we require. The trees pretty much need to be almost full grown, and then at that point they're providing all of the good stuff that we're designing the trees into. I don't know how many of you have been all over the world and maybe what your favorite city is in the US or in Europe or whatever, but I guarantee if you think back to that city, it's probably a lot of tree-lined streets in there. And you know, from an aesthetic point of view and a feeling standpoint, trees are really, really beneficial to our built environment. So just have a think about that as well. So the soil cells really are here to provide a lot of soil volume for these trees' root systems, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But we're also looking at clean waterways. And currently in the US, most cities are still using stormwater ponds, and the water's collecting in the streets. We're sending it down into our city systems, which is typically now it's got all sorts of pollutants, oil, petroleum, metal pollutants. And we're not cleaning that water before we send it into our city systems, which is then getting fed into lakes, streams, oceans. So again, the soil cells will help with that, as I'll go into. Heat island effect, we all know what that is in the US and certain states, certainly the ones where you guys live, maybe not the Pacific Northwest, but everywhere else. We don't want to be walking around in streets that are 30, 35 degrees. I'm talking a foreign language here, 90 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's not very comfortable. If we can actually have these trees provide some shade, which keeps us cooler, our streetscapes, our downtowns are a lot more friendly and inviting spaces for us to be in. And then lastly, every city across North America, every major city has got an idea of where they want to be in terms of urban canopy targets. So I'll give you an example. Seattle are up around 7 or 8 out of 10, 7 or 8% in the next 10 years. Some of the cities that you guys are sat in right now might only be at 1 or 2%, but I guarantee you that city or municipality wants to build that up and get a better urban canopy target in place. So let's get into the juicy stuff here. So this is our system here. This is the StrataVault module. As you can see, the picture on the right is a really fantastic way of describing how these systems work. So they sit underneath the sidewalk, or in some cases underneath the road, and they provide lots of soil volume, lots of space, lots of void space for soil. Now, these systems are planted around the tree ball, the root ball, and the tree's roots can now grow into these systems and really use all of that nice nutrient-rich soil for growth. Now, when the root system are expanding out like this also means that the canopy can expand and give us the aesthetic, shade, and health benefits that we need. So this is really the guts of the solution here. It's a structural plastic module that's going to support the sidewalk, and the void space inside it is key. The soils that we use are key. We can use it for tree growth and also stormwater, which I'm going to go into in a little bit. Now, there's some features and benefits to the StrataVault product, and we're very keen to get Cascade and Bowman and the guys supplying this product. Obviously, there's going to be lots of benefits locally, like the stocking of product, the return of the product, some of the cost and advantages as far as contractors being able to use terms and everything else. That's all very good, but the actual product itself, its main benefits are strength, workability with underground infrastructure, environmental impact, again 100% recycled, and zero maintenance. These products have zero maintenance, which is always key for municipalities. Now, these are the two systems that we're currently supplying. This on the right here is a Strata Cell. This product on the left is a StrataVault. This is our 6th generation. The Strata Cell is our 5th generation. Basically, for different uses, the Strata Cell on the right is used underneath highways, and the StrataVault is used basically everywhere else. Now, let's get into an installation for you, because it's good for you to know how these things go on the ground and what they do. So the picture on the left was 4 trees. They'd all died. The city cut the trees down and decided they needed to provide more soil volume for these trees. So all of this space here got excavated, which is what you can see here on the right hand side. So this is an excavated pit, and there's about 4 inches of crushed gravel gone on the bottom of this, again compacted to 98%. That's the base of the pit. And now we start to put our modules into there. So we've got the base plate goes in first, and then the module very simply fits into the base plate the whole way down. The image on the right is one full layer completed with 3 trees. So there's only 3 trees going into space. One of them's actually behind me, so you can't see it. But rather than put 4 trees in, we knew that 3 trees would fit a lot better. The canopy is going to be greater, so you actually wouldn't be able to fit 4 healthy trees back into this space again. As you can see, this square here is where the root ball will go. So we'll leave that empty. And the image on the left here is 2 modules high now. This is the complete system in here. This is as high as we're going. And this product down the left and the right, I'm sure you're all familiar with geotextiles. These guys do actually sell this product. This is called CombiGrid. This product goes up the sides of the modules. Once this is all filled with soil, this geotextile will actually wrap over and come on top. And I'll show you that in a second. Again, here's the squares for the root ball where the tree goes. Okay, so the image on the right now, the soil cell matrix is getting filled with the soil. This gets completely filled up to the top, and then contractors simply walk across the top of it to compact the soil. And now, as you can see, the StrataVault matrix is complete. The top grates are in place. The soil is all in. And now we can fold the geotextile membrane that's gone up the sides over the top, overlap it by about 12 inches. Okay, so this is pretty much the finished article here. Again, this is going under the sidewalk, and now the next step is to add the crushed granular base on top. Again, compact this to 98% or whatever your local regulations say. And then once the crushed gravel is all compacted, we very simply pour the concrete into the surface, and that's our finished installation. So to discuss this again, the benefit of these StrataVault modules is they are underneath this whole concrete space here, and the tree roots from these trees can now use all of this space for its growth. Meaning, again, this tree's canopy is going to be huge. It's going to be a really healthy street tree, and we can run stormwater through it as well. Okay, so now we're going to go on to so that the last few slides there have been on tree growth and the health of the street trees in an urban environment. Now, these next few slides are a little different. We're talking about stormwater management, and there is already systems out there on the market that do this, but there's none that do this quite like the StrataVault module. It's unique in that the product can be left completely void for stormwater storage, or it can be used with soil in it, which is what we're going to be discussing today. So the concept of these tree pits for stormwater management is this. This here is a typical catch basin. Okay, now this can be obviously, typically it's next to the curb. In this instance it's not, but it doesn't matter. So if this is next to the curb, the water's running through the catch basin, and it runs through this pipe here and into the soil cell matrix, which is full of soil. Now what the soil's doing is it's taking all of the water that's coming in from the street, and the soil is actually going to take out the pollutants like the oils, petroleum, metal pollutants. It's going to hold all of that up, and the water is going to sieve through the soil, and if these pits fill up, it's going to go into this drain here, or this pipe, which is going to take it into the city's storm or the city's systems or lakes, oceans, ponds as clean water. So this is a very natural way of cleaning the polluted stormwater that's coming from the streets with these tree pits. Now, of course, the other benefit, aside from clean stormwater now, is that these tree roots are all within this tree pit as well. And the tree's roots are going to take up the pollutants and use them for its growth. At the same time, the water is going to be in the soil cell matrix as well. So we're feeding the trees and we're cleaning the water. It's a really fantastic solution. Now, I almost want you to sort of close your ears a little bit for this next one, just because I'm going to go into a product that we've developed called the StrataFlow Shield, which this product is going to be again supplied by Cascade and Bowman and all the other partners there. And the water is going to come in from the top of the catch basin, down this product here, across and into the pipe. Basically, what the system is doing is taking out the silts prior to the water getting into the cells. So for many years, these soil cells have been used for cleaning the polluted stormwater. But of course, from an engineering standpoint, engineers are concerned about the pipes, etc., clogging up. Well, now that's not a concern anymore, because we're cleaning up 90% of the harmful silts before the water hits the pipe and gets into the soil cells. And maybe what we'll do is, if anybody's interested in this other product, because it's a different product to the StrataVault, but the two combined are producing water quality that's never been seen before in the urban environment. It's taken us 3 years to get to this point, but we're really, really excited. And again, for all the stormwater civil engineering folks out there that you know find this part really interesting, hey, let's set up another presentation and we'll really get into the guts of it. Because today is really more about urban tree growth with an aspect of stormwater management there as well. So this is a concept again from a plan view. Let me just, okay, I've got my mouse back. This here is the catch basin, okay, at the curb. And then the water is going to run in from the catch basin via a pipe, and then this is a perforated pipe system that we've put into the soil cells, into the matrix, which is going to send the water around for the tree roots to really get into. The good thing about this particular design is that any salts that we use, I mean, you know, some of you will be using salt, some of you won't be using a lot of salt. I'm up in Canada, and in Canada, salt is a massive problem. And if we're sending salt into a root ball, then we've got real issues. So we tend to send the salt in with the water into spots so it can collect, and the tree roots simply divert away from the salt. It works really well. Okay, so this is another area of soil cells, and this is focused towards the engineering folks and the people that deal with utilities, pipes. We've developed a product called Strata Cage. It's very, very simply our StrataVault product with a root barrier in there as well. So what this Strata Cage is, it's designed to organize and compartmentalize pipes and utilities underground. So engineers are now specifying our system and using them to organize all of this underground infrastructure within 1, 2, 3 layers high of the StrataVault. This project's a really good example. This is one that we're done in the States, and we've got 3 different things going on underneath the sidewalk that are benefiting the trees, the engineers, and the stormwater engineers. So the bottom layer is filled with granular or rock of different sizes depending on the flow rates for the stormwater. Okay, so this is all, the bottom layer is all purely for water that's going to be running in, and we're going to be slowing water down and then sending it again into the city systems via these pipes. Okay, the second layer is for pipes and utilities. So again, we've got this little section here. This can be anywhere within this matrix. This is all for organizing and compartmentalizing the utilities. And then the third layer up is purely for trees. So it's for soil for trees. So we're actually, this is a 3-tier system. Again, the organization is fantastic, and where engineers, it took them a while to get on board, they're now actually specifying the product so that they can really work with the different parts and components of a streetscape. Now let's get into some sexier stuff. Here's some projects that we've done. This is a project in Edmonton, Alberta. This is in Canada, and I just wanted to put this one in because this is using stormwater that runs through these grills into these tree pits. The soil cells are underneath the red paving sections here, right below the trees. And again, these tree roots can now grow all the way down this sidewalk. And this is actually phenomenal growth for these trees. This is a 3-year-old project, and for Edmonton, Alberta, they don't get massive trees, to be quite honest with you. They're seeing phenomenal growth, and the caliper on the trees growing substantially too. This is another one in Edmonton. I thought this was really interesting because these trees are planted in parking lots. So this is all asphalt, obviously, around these trees. The soil cells are underneath the asphalt, and they've got channels put into the asphalt that collects all of the stormwater from the parking lot, and then the trees are using the stormwater for the growth. Now this one's particularly interesting because these trees are planted at exactly the same time. These trees are in that's considered a lot of soil, really. It's not a field, but it's certainly a decent quantity of soil for it. And these trees are outperforming these by quite a way. They're bigger, they're fuller, they look a lot healthier. This is the same tree species. These are elm trees, which again, we see a lot of these in the prairie provinces. And this is the largest stormwater project in North America. This is a light rail transit project that we've done again. Edmonton is a hot spot for these soil cells, but the soil cells are actually within this trench here, and there's actually no trees, nothing getting access to these. The reason that they were put into the project is so that the stormwater engineer knows exactly the quantity of soil within these soil cell, within these areas, so that he can do his math and figure out the runoff, the flow rates, and everything else. So again, super interesting, completely different use of soil cells than we're used to but there's lots and lots of different applications. This is our best project to date. This is 2013. These trees were planted into our solar cell product. Architecturally, this small town is got lots and lots of visitors coming through it. Trees are really very important to the look and feel of this town, and they didn't want to just put trees that were going to die after 5 years back in, because it would do nothing for tourism. So they planted these trees in our solar cell product back in 2013. The trees are twice as big as they were as the full-grown trees they pulled out, and they're continuing to grow, and everybody's very, very happy. And again, if you guys have got main streets that you're looking at doing projects on, these systems are really fantastic for it. This one's in Winnipeg, very, very cold climate, -40 degrees. So I'm talking foreign language again. Anyway, it's probably colder than any city you've got, even up in the upper echelons of the States. It's the coldest major city in Canada. And Disney use our system for all of their projects in Florida and California. They love the system because, again, it protects the surface in the sidewalks, and it gets really nice tree canopy shade. As a lot of you know, there's long lineups for these rides in Disney World. Maybe not at the moment, unfortunately, but typically there is, and the shade is incredibly beneficial for these parks. And Vegas, we've just finished 2 projects in Vegas. Obviously, they're short on water, so capturing every drop of water that they can is very beneficial. And again, the heat thing, massive trees in the city, they're all about it. So here's something for the municipalities to look at and take note. The tree on the right was planted 4 years ago in 1,000 cubic feet of soil. Now, this tree's value has gone up from $600 US to $17,500 US in 4 years. Now, some of the cities where you guys are today maybe won't put a return on investment value on the trees quite yet, but believe me, it's coming very quickly to every city across North America. Some of the cities in the States already have this, have had for years. And if a developer wants to come in and put a development in and they want to take a tree out, the city says yes or no. If it's yes, Mr. Developer, you owe us $25,000 for this tree. It's a way of the city getting some of this money back for this for green infrastructure. The tree on the left has been in there for 15 years. It's a very sad state. It's actually lasted a lot longer than maybe a lot would. But this is what we see across the States. This tree is providing nothing in terms of aesthetics, shade, health benefits. It's just there. It's a pathetic little thing. All too common, unfortunately. But that's what we're going to change with this product. Just to go into some benefits, the StrataVault product is extremely strong. We can have, in some cases, machinery driving across the top of it. This on the left is how we strength test these modules. So we put them into big cushion devices. We squash them basically until they break or bend or explode, and then at that point we come up with a PSI, or in Canada the KPA, kilopascals, obviously pounds per square inch. That's how we test these things. We've got these utilities and pipes that we like to work with. This project here on the right was strewn with utilities pipes. As you can see, catch basin, there's all sorts of problems in here. The landscape contractor turned up and says there's no way we're going to be able to get solar cells into this. It's a maze of everything. We do projects in Europe, which the streetscapes are 700 years old, 800 years old. The pipes and utilities are underneath these streets are unbelievable. They're a maze of pipes. Because our system is so flexible, we can cut the StrataVault module without compromising strength, which means we can get in to 99% of these projects and put our system in. I'm sure that, again, there's a lot of cities where you guys live where you're thinking, oh, there's lots and lots of pipes, infrastructure underneath our streetscapes. We're a little bit concerned about that. I can tell you now, don't be concerned about that for 1 second, because we have yet to have a project that we couldn't get into and provide all of the soil volume. For example, the projects on the right, we've got 5 big healthy trees into that space. So it can be done. And we've got lots and lots of projects that I can show you and send you with that information in there. Again, 100% recycled product. Last year alone, we saved over 1,000 tons from landfills and oceans. We're actually very close to our product being recycled in 100% post-consumer plastic. So it's very, very exciting. Which means all of those bottles and milk jugs that we throw away every day, we put into recycling bins. That's what we're using to manufacture our product. Just check the time here. Okay, I'm pretty much done here. Yeah, LEED. We can get up to 31 points for your LEED projects by using these systems. Obviously, with ours being recycled as well, we're getting a few more points for that too. And zero maintenance. So once we've got this product in the ground, the trees planted, we can cover these things over. We never have to be concerned about them again. The trees are going to keep growing, and that's usually very good for the municipalities to hear. The biggest benefit of going with our product in your neck of the woods is you've got local support and distribution. You've got stock on hand. The contractor can return stock. These guys are trained up in installation. They're going to be able to get out on job sites, make sure the job's going well, potentially sign off on the project at the end of the day as well, and constantly provide education like we are doing today. So fantastic, you've got companies like you have. Also, we can help. I'll touch on this quick because I'm running out of time. We can help with.
You're doing great on time. Keep on trucking. Yep, you're doing great.
Fantastic, thank you. Design services, guys, we can really help with this. This is really, really important. If you're coming from a landscape architecture firm or a city or whatever else, and this is obviously a brand new concept for some of you. Some of you have seen it around a lot. We can really assist you with where these things go, show you how many cubic feet of soil you've got per tree. And also show you as well, hey, why don't we connect these soil cell pits to some open planting beds and cut down on the cost a little bit as well. There's lots of things we can do. We can then take those design services a step further for you as well and show you where where the matrices are, but also zoom in and hone in on how exactly they look. And again, how much soil volume have we got per tree? And what does that outside excavation look like? And then again, we take it a step further again. We can actually look into doing some cross sections to show you this is a StrataVault system in here. And again, we can show you any pipes that are through here. We can put all that stuff in, and it just gives you complete confidence that your design is going to work. So again, just to quickly run through some of the features and benefits of the StrataVault product in particular. It is the strongest module in the world. The workability with underground infrastructure is fantastic. I can't tell you how flexible and easy this product is to work with. Again, we can cut it without compromising strength if we need to, but typically we don't need to. It's just a case of using or not using the bridge connectors to space the modules apart. Again, we can put the design together for you. The guys at the 4 companies that we're talking to today can be on site with you as well, talking you through it. And we provide obviously lunch and learns for offices outside of this as well. Environmental impact, I keep touching on that, but maintenance is key. It really is fantastic that we just literally plant these trees in the ground, we cover them over, we watch these trees grow, and we have a thriving streetscape or plaza now to use. Urban Greening Grant Program. So this is something that we've been talking with municipalities about, and this is something we'd love to work with all of you. If you've got a potential project coming up and you want to look how to use one of our grant programs, then we can absolutely help you with that. Again, it involves us assisting with the design, and then we just all we want to know is that, you know, the grant program's working, and how we do that is we plant a tree in the typical way that we have been doing for 30 years within the area of the soil cell trees, just to get a visual on, hey, look, is it working, is it not? You know, proof is in the pudding, as I say. And this is a thing that typically helps municipalities get over the line. Again, the grant program helps with the costs, and we actually film and document the process from day 1 to year 5. So it really gives you guys something to show and use in your marketing too. And that's it from my end, guys. I don't know if Bill.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. And I'm going to take over the controls here, but I think you've already done a great job of answering the questions. So if we were in a room full of people, I'd tell them to clap for you. So a little bit of a clap there, Steve. And I can tell you that the QR code works. I went ahead and pulled it up on my phone, and we've got some time to get into the Q&A. I went ahead and answered one in writing. My friend and fellow Cyclone, Michael Sharp, out of Lamper Nearson, asked how does the StrataVault system work around existing utilities and conduits, and you showed that. I don't know if you want me to back up to a slide, because we also had a follow-up question from someone else. Jeff Simmons asked, similarly to Michael's question, how easy is it to remove small sections for utility repairs or placement of new utilities? So I can go back to a slide. I don't know if I think it would be probably this slide right here. Would that be a good slide for you to help talk through either putting in a new StrataVault system around existing utilities, or the opposite side of that, adding utilities to the area where there's an existing StrataVault system? Yeah,
so in terms of installing StrataVault to existing utilities, it really all comes down to the flexibility. So if you probably can't see my mouse now, but
here, I can give you controls back. Watch what I can do.
Oh,
let me see.
Sure. Okay.
You click on the screen and you'll start driving again. There you go.
Okay, very good. So you can see my mouse now, hopefully.
Yep.
So as you can see there, this is a bridge connector. So this is what connects one module to another, and this is really fantastic. This is only available in our latest module. But we can use these, we can not use these. So you can imagine now this StrataVault module could be butted up against this one. We can use these, and we can cut through this section here. So as mentioned, really in our first 5 iterations of soil cells, this wasn't as simple and easy, because we couldn't adapt or really play with our system as we wanted to, which is why we invented the StrataVault. Since then, we've had 0 issues with going into existing streetscapes with lots and lots of utilities. To touch on the other person's comment there, when we're looking at removing these modules to get in, let's say there's a water main break that's happened underneath.
Always happens. Yep.
Ideally, we can just simply go in with an excavator and pull the sidewalk apart, take the modules apart by hand, which again is very, very simple. The installation, as you've seen, is as easy to take apart as it is to put back together again. So we just by hand can remove all this, remove the modules. But in an emergency situation, it is honestly as simple as the excavator getting in, rip these modules out. They all come apart very easily and quickly. These bridge connectors just go in and come out by hand. They are connected, but they're not locking, but by any means. So that all works. That all works incredibly well. There's, in fact, just as well as if we had a granular material in there and we had to do the same thing. Just rip out these systems and then just reinstall them again afterwards.
And if you have to replace them, just give us a call and we'll have some on hand.
Exactly. There you go.
That's one of the benefits of working with a distributor, especially a local distributor. And that answers one of our next questions is, does Citygreen provide contractor training prior to install? And the answer is absolutely. And that's where Citygreen works with trained partners like us. So whether you're in a Quick Supply or ASP Enterprises, Bowman Construction Supply, or Cascade Geosynthetics market, we are going to have all of our folks trained this winter. And this is what all of our engineered products. We have pre-construction meetings. In fact, we even encourage pre-bid meetings, and that could be as simple as a Zoom presentation where we have Steve or anybody else from Citygreen, probably be Steve, work with your company and me or anybody else in our company to have a presentation with your contractor before they bid a project and try to get better bids. And then once you award the contract, of course, we'll work for pre-construction meetings. That's where we thrive. That's our strong suit.
Yeah, I have been doing that for a lot of projects recently. So when bids come out for StrataVault products or soil cell products in general, I've got a deck put together which takes about 10 to 15 minutes, and we actually run through the installation with the contractor via Zoom or Teams or whatever they're comfortable with in exactly the same way as we're doing today. It's just a much shorter, condensed version, and it's focused on the contractors.
Well, you just led right into the next question. So the next Q&A is, how does our product compare with other soil cells on the market? And I won't say the brand names of the other ones because they don't do that for me. But how do you compare? So if somebody has a plan that they already have seen that has another product written on it, how do they know that StrataVault's a good option, and how do you prepare the contractor for that?
Absolutely, yeah. There's 2 or 3 products on the market, but that's it. Honestly, there's only really 2 main ones in where we're doing business, and obviously we are an alternate to any of the products. So of course we can supply you with pricing on any soil cell project. The biggest benefit of the StrataVault system, well, there's a couple, but one of the biggest ones is installation speed and timing. Our system is incredibly quick and easy to install. Compared to the other guys, we would be at least twice as fast to go in the ground, which is really good for the contractors out there. Another benefit is, as you can see, we can cut it, and that is down to the strength of the product. So our system again is much stronger than the other systems on the market. We're the only system on the market that uses 100% recycled plastic. Everybody else uses virgin plastics in their manufacturing. And of course, one of the biggest benefits now is that the product is locally stocked. You can get it as you need it. Lead times are dramatically cut for that reason. And also, a big problem that we've got in other parts of the States is the return of product. It's very difficult for a soil cell manufacturer to take returns when it might be the other end of the States completely. So you've got somebody local here, and I don't want to speak for them here, but I'm assuming as well you could return some product and get the great payment terms that these guys offer too.
Well, we're in the business of making our contractors successful and making everyone from the designers to the contractors to the cities look good. So that's not something new to us. We have thousands of different products that we carry, and we specialize in engineered products. So yeah, we work with them, especially with a flexible system that can be designed in the field. Sometimes we've got to be ready for that system to grow longer or maybe get narrowed up around some utility conflicts. So everybody has to be flexible with the idea of how much product is needed and how's the thing being laid out. That's one of the things I really love about a system like this. We can be optimistic based on where we think all the underground utilities are and plan a really large system, but then we can also be flexible. And if we run into some conflicts that are insurmountable in the field, we just make the system fit the site.
Absolutely.
So here's a really good one that I like, because I just had a conversation this morning with Tom Bowman at Bowman Construction Supply and Rocky Mountain Bioproducts. Tom is our biosol expert, and I know, Steve, catching you off guard, you and Tom have talked at length about this, and we're just in the early stages of the relationship. But Tom is a vegetation expert with Biosol and Biosol Forte and other soil amendments. The question is, what kind of soil mixes are recommended? That comes from Leon Brown. But I think it tees it up really well for you to talk about how that's still evolving. That's innovative. So how do you answer that with the soil mixes?
Honestly, the best thing that we do at Citygreen in terms of local suppliers of soil is we of course have soil specs that we give to landscape architects and municipalities to design into these soil cell projects. So we do that, but honestly, the best way to do it is to get in touch with 2 or 3 good local soil manufacturers that actually manufacture the different mixes and truly know what they're talking about. Again, we can add all different types of products in there as well, which definitely help. But it really is about getting in locally and asking, your local supplier like Cascade or anybody else, hey, who do you recommend for soil in this? Because these products are supporting the sidewalk. That's basically what they're doing. They're allowing for a void space. The soil is absolutely key to the growth of these trees and the cleaning of the stormwater. So the soil is vital. So, we can help you absolutely. We can help you by sourcing good soil manufacturers or whatever else locally. But really, that's the answer: is finding a reputable company locally that knows about these soils and really getting their advice and use.
I think people are going to think that you and I practiced this for weeks, and we really didn't, because everything you say is perfect and it bounces right back to me. We're blessed at our companies to have excellent relationships. That's what we're all about. And that could be on the supplier end with many different manufacturers and vendors, but also on the construction side. And we know who's strong at what they do. And we're actually constantly growing new champions for new innovative solutions and engineered products. There's not a year that goes by that we don't add a few people to our list of people we highly recommend for engineered products, because they keep learning and growing. And through that, we can get the best resources available for soil, because a lot of times with these types of projects, especially renovating old downtown main streets, we're getting into some nasty old soils that have been buried underground forever, and they might have old brick foundations in them and who knows what kind of contaminants. So a lot of what happens is they do get excavated and removed and replaced with, as you would say, engineered soil. And we have great resources for that and soil amendments. And a lot of these pictures, when you look at them when they're being excavated, anybody that knows soil quality, they're not seeing organic material. They're seeing old rubble and debris and just hardly any organics. And you're right, the StrataVault, you can already check the box. StrataVault's providing the structural support that's going to hold up the sidewalk, street, patio, whatever's around this system. But if you want that tree to be successful, we do recommend amending the soil, putting in the good stuff that'll make that tree grow. And I'm not an expert in that. I'm a civil engineer, but we have some LAs on this webinar right now. I see a lot of familiar names, and they're experts on it too. So we love making recommendations and then working with the local folks on what's going to work best for their site. And speaking of friends, Eric Dahl's on here, and known him for a while. He's asking for you, Steve, do you place soil inside the vertical support columns of the system? And if so, how do tree roots access those soils?
We do add soil into these vertical columns here, but it's the only reason we do that is when you've got the geotextile membrane that's coming over the top. What we don't want that geotextile membrane to do is to fall into the holes, because obviously it's a big hole. So the way that we stop the geotextile from falling into these legs on the top layer is by just filling it with soil. So as we're adding the soil into the pit for the trees, the soil happens to fall into the legs, which supports the geotextile material. We don't expect or want, in fact, it's impossible for the tree roots to get into the legs themselves.
Perfect. Thank you for answering that. Somebody else asked about freezing, and you said in your presentation, and we get this everywhere I go. God bless them. People ask me the real hard questions, but yeah, can it handle our seasons and our environment and our winter? And I live in Iowa. We have pretty harsh winters, but we've got friends in northern states that get it worse. And for our brothers and sisters up north in Canada, you have some cities up there that would make most of us just cringe and fold and pack up and move south. So how do you answer the concern about water freezing within the system?
Well, I can attest that we have got some cities up north that make you cringe and freeze your butts off. I've done it. I've lived in different places in Canada, which is why I now live on Vancouver Island, which is very close to Seattle, obviously, and I don't have a lot of those problems to deal with. But some of our strongest provinces and cities across Canada are the extremely cold ones. There might be some people on this call from Denver, and the whole Chinook thing is definitely something that we are fully aware of. We've done lots of projects in Calgary, Alberta, which I'm not sure if you're aware, but they get the same Chinook as Denver does, and yeah, we're seeing fantastic successes. The product itself is actually gets stronger. The type of polypropylene that's used actually gets stronger as it gets colder, believe it or not. I mean, there is a limit to that. I think it's about, excuse me, I don't know my American that well, but it's about minus 25 degrees Celsius, which again, a lot of your cities aren't hitting. Now at minus 25, the product starts getting weaker, but it's still strong enough to cope with anything. So cold conditions, again, not a problem. This product has been tested in some really ridiculous climates, and trees are thriving in all of them. So
that's awesome. And you had this in your presentation. I'm not throwing any stones at our attendees. It's hard to stay 100% alert for a full hour, even though you have an awesome voice. What is the maximum load you place on the system? I saw a slide that said H25 or HS25. How do you answer the loading question?
Yeah, so our product is rated to H25, and that's just the product alone. So what that means is that we could actually have vehicles run across the top of our module with a sheet of plywood on top of it. Now, HS20 or HS25 is obviously it's a bridge loading, it's a bridge loading method of a structural method, and what it relates to is the base plus the module plus what's above the module. Does that pavement design meet H25? To get to H25, it's very, very simple with our system. We pretty much get there with the product alone, but of course, we need a certain amount of granular material above the product to be able to compact it. That's why we need the amount of product that we need. 4 inches and 4 inch or 5 inch of granular and 5 inches of concrete is very typical for above our system. So what that means is with our 2 different strength systems, this is our StrataVault 30, which is 51 PSI, or we've got our StrataVault 45 series, which is 65 PSI. Oops.
That's me. I'm clicking the slides. I was looking for it, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the StrataVault 45 is just over 65 PSI, and that means that this product can go underneath roads, even in some cases highways. So yeah, we've got no concerns at all around any vehicle or traffic going over it.
And we'll help them with that when we get to that point. So I tell you what, there's been some great questions asked here, and I wish we had more time. I tell you what, I'm going to go to my closing slide, and I have a friend that asked a question. Here's just our contact information, and I want everybody to go to the same email that you got that had the registration for today's presentation. I want you to register for next Wednesday's webinar with Propex. We're going to talk about scour lock to reinforce some vertical slopes underwater and work our way up some slope and shore protection with Armor Max. But my friend Selma Kessler asked, for the trees to survive, there must be some mechanism to convey water to the soil in the modules themselves, correct?
Yeah, so we can use a few different ways to do that. We either just use a typical irrigation system, which typically a figure of 8 up and down the soil cell matrix, which is bringing that water into the soil for the trees. Or we can do, as I've shown there with the catch basin, by bringing the water in through a catch basin, or we can use something like a permeable paving above the modules, which is going to bring the water down into the soil for the trees. So there's a few different ways that we can bring the water into the soil. Absolutely.
I'm really excited to hear you say that, because we also have a Paving Drain, and Selma knows that product very well, that can handle street loading, parking lots, and Paving Drain's awesome for streetscape projects. We actually have a different soil cell product with Paving Drain in a Missouri project we did a few years ago. And Paving Drain is great for the streets. We even have some other permeables that people are using on some sidewalks and some outdoor living spaces. So with that, thank you very much. Great job, Steve. Everybody, please answer the Survey Monkey so that we can get your PDH certificate sent out to you. I will share all of these questions in writing with Steve, and he will help me answer those. For all of you attendees, when we send out your PDH certificate, we will send you the written answers to all these questions. And I urge you to reach out to all of your local reps from Cascade Geo, Bowman Construction Supply, ASP Enterprises, and Quick Supply Company, and me to schedule a presentation with Steve and your company directly. How's that sound, Steve?
That sounds amazing. Would love to help.
That's awesome. Thank you very much and take care. Thanks for joining us, Steve. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. Thank you.